Have you ever noticed how children often seem to want two opposite things at the same time? They want closeness and they want independence. They want us and they want to become themselves. As parents, we often experience this as contradiction. One day they're clinging to our leg, the next they're pushing us away. One moment they're desperate for reassurance, the next they're insisting they can do it themselves. And it can leave us wondering what on earth they actually need. Now, take a scenario many parents are familiar with when you're dropping off at nursery with a child whose bottom lip now wobbles when you open the car door. It hurts you every time you see their face drop, and an understandably fierce protectiveness arises inside, but it competes with the pressures to get to work and bring in much needed income. They've been through tears and clinging. You've tried comforting and reassuring or gently peeling them off your arm. And while you know your child will get there, given enough encouragement, you feel pressured to just leave them and walk away, when actually it's probably you who's going to be clinging to the fence, just desperate to see them look up at one of the staff and smile, even if it's just a little. Because although we often talk about children's separation anxiety, I think parents experience it too. One of the reasons these moments can feel so confusing is that children are trying to do something really important developmentally. They're learning how to become independent. When a child clings at drop-off, they're not trying to be difficult or manipulate you or trying to make you late, of course not. They're asking something about safety. Will you come back? Will I be okay? Will you still be there on the other side of this separation? And this is especially true for younger children who haven't yet developed the capacity to remember that you will come back. But even for older children, those aren't irrational questions. They're the questions of a child who's learning what independence means while still relying on you for their safety and survival. Now, there is also another side to this, because while children are learning how to move away from us, we're learning how to let them. We want to offer reassurance and we want to encourage independence. We want to stay connected and we want them to grow and flourish and become their own person. Sometimes we're trying to offer closeness and independence at exactly the same time. No wonder it feels complicated. And this is why I think there's a difference between minimizing distress and acknowledging distress. A child who hears, I'm leaving now. I know you're upset. Everyone here will be kind to you. I'll be back at 3. Receives something different from a child who looks up from play to suddenly realize that you've already gone. The leaving still happens. The independence still develops. But the difference is that one experience was acknowledged. And it's not about prolonging the goodbye, making it an endless and difficult separation. It's about being honest and clear with your child so that they can, in your presence, adjust to the reality that you're going to be going. Now, what's also interesting is that this same process looks very different at different ages. Typically, a younger child will move closer to you. They cling, they cry, they want reassurance. Older children might do the opposite. They pull away, they insist they're fine, they reject comfort. But underneath both behaviours is the same developmental task. Can I become more independent while still remaining connected to you? As they get older, the behaviour changes, but the underlying challenge remains remarkably similar. One of the easiest mistakes we make as parents is responding to our child today using strategies that worked for them a couple of years ago, because children change quickly, quicker than we can often keep up with. But obviously what worked at 4 may not work at 8, and what works at 8 definitely won't work when they're 12. And nobody's doing anything wrong. It's just development. That's how children grow. But this is one of the reasons I've created the 20-minute child decode. It helps you see more clearly who your child is right now. It guides you through 8 developmental areas and helps you identify which skills are becoming strengths for your child and which are still emerging. It also invites you to choose one focus to support your child with for the month ahead. Because parenting becomes a lot easier when you're responding to the child who's in front of you rather than the child you remember. I'll leave the details below. Take a closer look later on. But in the meantime, I'll leave you with a question. How is your child trying to become more independent right now? And how are they asking for connection at the same time? Because sometimes clinginess and rejection aren't opposites at all. Sometimes they're 2 different expressions of the same journey.